I will call the meeting to order. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustment of Clearview Township on this Wednesday, October the 8th. I would like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Teonitani, Wendat, and is the home of many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships and ask for guidance in all we do. For those remaining members that are here, any issues, queries, comments about last month's minutes? Can we have a motion to accept those minutes? All in favor? Carried. Is there any pecuniary interest amongst the chair people today on the files we're about to see? Seeing none. Excellent. The Committee of Adjustment today will consider 3 minor variances and 1 consent application scheduled under the public hearings. The Planning Act requires that the public hearing be held before the Committee of Adjustment decides whether or not to pass a consent or a minor variance. The public hearing serves 2 purposes. First, to present to the Committee of Adjustment and the public the details and background to the application, and second, to receive comments from the public and agencies before a decision is made. For each application, the Secretary Treasurer will summarize the proposal and correspondence on file. Then Planning Division staff will provide any other information that is relevant to the application. And from there, the applicant will be provided the opportunity to make a presentation, followed by questions from the public, either in favor or against the proposal. Committee members will then have the opportunity to question the applicant, the planner, or anyone giving presentations on your files. And then we will consider the application, vote on it, and give you an answer. Over to you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Chair. Notice of this statutory public hearing for these applications was circulated in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, Chapter P13. Notice for these applications was posted on subject properties on or before September 22nd, 2025, which was at least 14 days prior to the hearing. Notice was delivered to property owners within 60 meters of the subject properties and circulated by email to those persons, departments, and agencies likely to have an interest in each application. Notice was also posted to the township website. Included with each notice was a legal description of the property and a description of each of the proposed changes.
Thank you, good sir. All right, our first file today is minor variance file 25-A16. Can you read the motion to put on the table?
So next slide, please. And one more, there we go. Here's a key map of the site, which is 4198 County Road 124. And we received comments from the Township Public Works and Engineering Department, Building Department, NVCA Source Water Protection, County of Simcoe, and the Ministry of Transportation. Next slide, please. So, be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves minor variance 25-A16 pertaining to lands at 4198 County Road 124 on the basis that it meets the prescribed tests in accordance with the Planning Act, subject to the following condition: that notwithstanding sections 2.6.1.1, .2, and .6, and section 3.8.2 F, I, and K, the detached accessory building shall otherwise comply with all other applicable provisions of the zoning bylaw. And further, that minor variance 25-A16 be subject to the following term: that reduced setbacks, increased height, and increased gross floor area shall only apply to the detached accessory building as shown in sketches submitted by Emily Bernard, Bernard Design and Build, dated August 15th, 2025, as shown in Appendix C and D of this report.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a seconder for this motion on the floor? Yes, sir. All right, time for discussion. Over to the planning staff. What's that? Right. So one of them seconded, the first one moved it.
Okay. Thank you.
That leaves me to vote. All right. Over to the planning staff for a presentation on this file.
And that will also be me. So the purpose and effect of this application is to recognize the existing legal non-conforming structure and permit the building to be reconstructed at approximately the same location and with the same footprint size, but to exceed the height and gross floor area a minor amount compared to the existing building. And further to that, it is requesting a number of provisions, but these are reflecting the and formalizing the legal non-conforming provisions of the existing building. I went through this, but this is for the maximum accessory height from 6 meters to 6.8. The rear yard setback from 1.2 meters to 0.1 meters, the exterior side yard setback from 7.5 to 0.1 meters, and the maximum gross floor area of all accessory buildings from 100 square meters to 155 square meters. And the effect is to, as I said, permit the reconstruction and enlargement of this existing legal non-conforming detached garage for personal use. Next slide, please, Lori. Here's a site plan. So to the right of the site is County Road 124. To the north, to the east of the site is 124. To the north is Melville Street. And it's a little hard to see on the screen, but the red dotted line is the existing footprint and location, and the gray building on the shaded gray on the left side is the proposed location. So it's shifted back onto the property and maintaining the same footprint. Next slide, please. And here are the floor plans. It's a 2-story building. There's a garage space on the main floor and a loft on the second floor. Next slide, please. These drawings show, again in dotted red, the existing dimensions. You can see that the building maintains the same overall form of the existing building in the angle of the roofs. Yep, next slide, please. And here's the east and west faces of the building. Note that there are no windows on the north face or the west face, the side that abuts the neighboring property. That I believe comes from a building code requirement, but it is also contributes to the lower privacy impact. Next slide, please. And here are some images from my site visit to the property, east and west on Melville. And next slide, please. And here are some images that demonstrate the scale of the existing building at the corner and face on to the property. And as demonstrated in the drawings, the actual visual impact will be approximately or very similar to the existing building. Next slide, please. And here is another image showing the scale of the existing building relative to the house, which is a 2-story building, and demonstrating that it is still subordinate to the scale of the house. Next slide. And I have read the recommendation already, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. We will pause that presentation for a moment. Gord, do you have any pecuniary interest in any of the files that are listed on the agenda tonight?
No, I don't.
Thank you. All right. The Bernard family or representative or youngest child?
Architectural designer for this project, and happy to answer any questions.
All righty then. Is there any questions from the committee members on the motion that is before us at the moment? Yes, sir.
Through the chair. Actually, it's just a comment. I think it's a great upgrade to what's existing. So I would be in support of this motion.
Gord.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, we vote on the motion in front of us. Carried. There's a 20-day appeal period, at which point in time Colin beside me will be your best friend to carry you through the conditions that have been set before you. All good? Thank you very much. Screaming right along to minor variance file 25-A17. Good, sir.
Thank you. Next, oh, there we go. Thanks, Lori. So this is minor variance 25-A17 for 2076 concession 8. Next slide, please. Here's a key map of the site. And we received comments from the Township Public Works and Engineering Department, Building Department, NVCA Planning Department, NVCA Source Water Protection, and the Ministry of Transportation. Next slide, please. And the staff recommendation is, be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves minor variance 25A17 pertaining to the property located at 2076 Concession 8 on the basis that it meets the prescribed tests in accordance with the Planning Act, subject to the following conditions. That notwithstanding section 2.1 and 3.8.2A, that's 3.8.2A, the lot shall otherwise comply with all other applicable provisions of the zoning bylaw, that a lot grading and drainage plan be submitted to the satisfaction of the township, and that a permit be obtained from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority.
Thank you, good, sir. Do we have a mover and a seconder for said motion today? All right. Over to the planning staff for our presentation.
Thank you. So purpose of this application is to permit the construction of a new residential building on an existing undersized lot. There was previously a home on the lot that has burned down, and now they're looking to rebuild. I do want to talk about just here on the table. So with the original application and notice that went out, it stated 0.13 hectares. Looking at the impact data, we saw 0.122. So that would be the size that you would be looking at approving. Given the intent of the notice that was sent out, that it was an undersized lot, it's been there for a long time. We don't really see the need to recirculate further. Next slide. Here we can see the site plan and the proposed building, driveway, septic in the back there. Next slide. North and south on concession 8 south, and the notice sign that was posted on site. A bit of a wide angle view of the property. You can see that existing accessory building that is to be torn down. That's approximately where the edge of the house starts. The big building on the right is on the adjacent property, and then just another close up of the vacant property. And then the recommendation that Colin has read out, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Is there a representative for this file here today? Do you have,
Lloyd Hunt, I'm agent for the client, Mike Jasko. So if you have any questions.
all right. Are there any questions to either the planning staff or the representative on this file? Seeing none, take a vote on said file. All in favor? Carried. You have
Okay.
a 20-day appeal period, at which time the planning staff will help guide you through each of the exceptions or what conditions.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day, sir. Consent file 25-B10, sir.
Thank you. This is a consent for 7082 3637 Side Road. Next slide, please. And here is a key map of the site. Comments were received from the Township Public Works and Engineering Department, Building Department, NVCA Planning Department, NVCA Source Water Protection, and the Ministry of Transportation. Next slide, please. And the staff recommendation is that be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 25B10 pertaining to lands at 7082 3637 Side Road on the basis that it is desirable for the appropriate development and use of the lands and that the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw are maintained and subject to the following conditions. 1, that the owner's property taxes be in good standing with the Township of Clearview, and that the owner shall pay any additional costs associated with the application. 2, that a registrable legal description of the severed lands and retained lands be provided to the Secretary Treasurer together with a survey plan prepared by an Ontario land surveyor, illustrating the consent consistent with the decision of the Committee of Adjustment. 3, that the applicant's solicitor provide an undertaking in writing to discharge any mortgage on the lands being severed from the property assessed as 4329 010 005 70800. 4, that the, next slide, please. 4, that the applicant's solicitor obtains a cancellation certificate from the township if required to ensure that the severed and receiving parcel merge as one parcel. The cancellation certificate shall be obtained and all instruments be registered in an order and manner to the satisfaction of the township. 5, that the land to be severed, 698 meters squared, from parcel 43290100057080 is conveyed into the same name as the owner of the abutting land and legally merged with the lands to the east, 7082 3637 Side Road, which is assessed as roll number 4320 4329 010 005 70803 to the satisfaction of the Township of Clearview. And 6, that the applicant's solicitor draws up deeds with a registrable description at no cost to Clearview Township. These draft documents shall be submitted to the Secretary Treasurer for review and approval prior to the issuance of the Certificate of Official. And copies of all documentation registered in conjunction with the application must be provided to the Secretary Treasurer following registration. And next slide, please. A few notes. Conditions 1 to 6 must be met prior to the consent certificate of official being completed. The above conditions shall be fulfilled on or before October 8th, 2027, or this consent shall deemed to have lapsed. The documentation shall be presented to the Secretary Treasurer for certification purposes not less than 10 working days prior to the lapsing date of the consent. And said deeds shall be registered at the County of Simcoe Registry Office on or before 2 years from the date indicated on the certificate of official, or the consent shall deem to have been lapsed.
Thank you, good sir. Over to the planning staff on this fine consent file.
This will also be me. And so next slide, please, Lori. So the purpose and effect of this application is to sever a small strip of land to the on the west side of the larger parcel, the agricultural parcel, and sever that 698 square meters and add it to the parcel to the east, which has the address 7082. And the effect of the application is to increase the size of 7082 to include the whole shop and residential building on the property. And next slide, please. Here's the proposed site plan. You can see that the proposed severed land has no frontage. That's the sort of dotted line on the left side of the page there. And this survey sketch has the shop and residential building indicated on the plan to demonstrate that it will meet the required setbacks for the zone. Next slide, please. Here are some site photos, east and west on 3637, and the notice sign was posted. Next slide. And there's the shop and residential building on the left side. And I've marked in as best I can with the blue dotted line where the existing lot line is. You can see that the existing building is slightly over the lot line. And so this consent is to fix that. Spaced on the word for fix. So my apologies. And here is the proposed lot line. I've shaded it in blue as best I can. These are approximately where it is. So it angles out from the existing lot line and meets approximately where the fence is and then continues to the back. And the third photo there, there's a point that I've marked that has some shrubbery, and that's where the existing lot line ends. Next slide, please. And I'll just note with the condition that for the cancellation certificate, this is something that we are not, we sought out some legal advice and our solicitor didn't get back to us before this meeting. So we've put this in place just as a precaution to make sure that the severed land and the receiving parcel merge properly. This would only be necessary if it was created by consent. The receiving parcel has some complicated legal history, which is why this condition is in place. I'm happy to answer any questions about the conditions, and happy to answer any questions in general.
Thank you, good sir. Did we not make a motion for this? No? All right. Can I get a motion and a seconder to put this motion on the table? Done. Any questions? There is someone here representing this file. Is there? All of you? All of you? You're the receiver of this tiny sliver of land to fix things. All right. Do you have anything to add that is not currently before us now?
Who's the applicant? Maybe the applicant should get up.
They are the applicants, yes.
Get up just to speak to.
I'm terrible at speaking, but it's Ryan Brown. And what am I answering? No.
All right, at least just stand there for a few moments then. All right, is there any questions of the planning staff or the applicant on fixing this lovely little property problem before us today? Yes, sir.
Through the chair, my question would be, do you understand that legal requirement and do you have any concerns with it?
Our lawyer will look after it.
Right.
Right,
So if that it could potentially pose some issues.
correct.
And so, okay, so you understand that. Well, if there's some legal, something on the property, you said there was something, is it title or what is it?
Through the chair, it's, the property is made up of part of the original plan of survey for the north part of Meadow, where these lots were originally created.
Right.
The receiving parcel was severed into 3 different lots. I don't know how those was severed. I couldn't find any record of when that happened. If it was if those lots were severed by consent, then it wouldn't necessarily merge and we would need the cancellation certificate. Because the way we do cancellation certificates is because it is part of the conditions, we would, if in conversation with your lawyer, we determined that that was necessary, we could issue that to you. It wouldn't be a problem to issue that. We just wanted to include that as a condition so we were prepared in case it came up. On our end, no.
That's good news.
That leads me to my question to the planning staff. If things on their property are currently messed up and this does not merge nicely and properly, do these lovely people have to come back in front of us ever again to solve this merge?
Through the chair, I think it depends what you mean by messed up.
So if their lawyer finds a problem with the previous merging
mhm.
and this current merging that we have given these conditions to, which are not inexpensive, does
Mhm.
not happen smoothly, and their lawyer finds issues, will they
Mhm.
have to come back in front of the committee of adjustment to solve that problem? Any possible problem down the road?
Again, it depends a lot on what that problem would be. Ideally, the certificate of cancellation would rectify any lack of merger that would happen, provided it was created by consent. Yeah, I would defer to Rosalind if you could.
Rosalind, if you could help me out
manager.
on this.
Thank you through to the chair and thank you, Colin. So the other challenge I think with this property is that it's also in, I think what Colin alluded to was a former plan of subdivision. And so the other thing that might happen is that the lawyer may find that it needs not necessarily a cancellation certificate, but something that we call like a deeming bylaw. And so what that would do would be that we would take it out of the plan of subdivision, and then that little section would get put into your names, and then it gets merged. So it seems all very technical and complicated, because it is. And that's why we're kind of waiting on our solicitors to give us the clearance. As Colin alluded to, that it's very possible that none of this is going to be needed, and we're just overcomplicating things. But as we're not lawyers, and we want it to not get messy, and we want it to merge, we reached out to our solicitors. They just didn't get back to us in time. So as Collins alluded to, we've added some conditions that if they are not needed, Colin can clear. So it's not like they're going to cause problems. It's just for the fact of safety, a safety net, and to ensure that what was applied for does happen.
Thank you very much for clearing that up for me. I just didn't want to pass this on and then see this lovely couple back again in a year's time. Yes, sir.
Through the chair. So then I heard correctly that it's not going to be any further cost to the applicant. Is that confirmed?
Rosalind, sir.
Yeah, we don't charge for a cancellation certificate if it is part of the original consent. That is what I will speak to at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So therefore, just to be clear, if there is some ancient housekeeping history going on your property, there should not be a reason for you to come back here. The township staff should be able to look after it with your lawyer and their solicitor, that's what I'm hearing. Is that we give you this little slice of heaven, that it shouldn't cause you more duress and more cost down the road. That's what I'm hearing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, cool. Yes, sir.
Through the chair, if I may add, what I would suggest to the applicant is, rather than waiting for the township solicitor to confirm this, their solicitor should be well versed in this as well. And through a quick title search, they'll be able to determine whether or not a cancellation certificate is even required. So or the deeming bylaw, but the cancellation certificate will effectively, what it does is just cancel a previous consent to allow you to do the new consent. But your lawyer should be able to determine that, hopefully quicker than ours, but yeah, because through a title search, they'll be able to determine how those two lots were previously created. It should show up in a title search.
Thank you, good sir, for providing clarity to the applicant family. All right. Is there any further questions on this application? Yes, sir.
Thank you, through the chair. Just, so this is probably, am I guessing, the town of Sudbury plan from 1833 that we're actually arguing over here? Yeah, since I know you've been around for a while.
Thank you, Mr. Royal, through to the chair. This one actually is in the town of Sudbury. That's the one that is actually up in the northeastern part where Regent Street is located.
Right.
It's actually called the town of Sudbury, old plan. This one, Colin, do you remember what it was called? It's an actual, I think it was the Nottawa or Bateau, town of Bateau plan. And there's a Hmm? Bateau. Yeah. Yeah. So Mhm.
Okay, so but it's a very old plan of subdivision historically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I recognize this from previous examples.
Yeah.
I wanted to clarify that it wasn't something like in my living memory or anything. Yeah, thank you.
Nope, you are correct. There are these old plans all over the township. So yes.
All righty. Back to the vote. Everyone is questioned out. All in favor of the carried. So you have like 2 years to work through this. I suggest you start now. Thank you very much for coming out. I hope we allayed whatever fears you may have had of dealing with the township of Clearview in a good way. Last but not least, minor variance file 25-A11. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. This is minor variance file 25-A11, 2616 Fairgrounds Road South. And next slide, please. Here is a key map of the site. Next slide. Oh, yeah. Comments were received from the Township Public Works and Engineering Department, Building Department, NVCA Source Water Protection, and the Ministry of Transportation. And I will, oh, it looks like my slides are out of order. I will just note that the applicant requested that this item be put back on this agenda. And if you go to the next slide, Lori. Oh, one more, please. The recommendation remains, be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves minor variance 25A11 pertaining to lands at 2616 Fairgrounds Road South on the basis that it meets the prescribed tests in accordance with the Planning Act and subject to the following conditions. One, that establishment of the home industry use is completed and operated in accordance with the plans attached in the schedules of this report, the development agreement registered on title, and subsequent plans that are required as a result of satisfying the comments of township. Two, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the owner is required to enter into a development agreement with the Township of Clearview that will implement and detail the home industry use. The owner is responsible for all costs associated with the development agreement and the registration of the agreement on title, including the payment of the $2,000 fee and $1,000 deposit for creation of the agreement, any legal cost associated with the registration of the agreement, and any other related costs. And three, that the development agreement will be registered on the title of the property, implementing all conditions of minor variance application 25-A11. The development agreement will also implement the following to the satisfaction of the township. A, all requirements of the Public Works Department as identified in their memorandum dated August 28th, 2025. B, all requirements of the Planning and Building Department addressing specific operational matters and items of the home industry use, including but not limited to hours of operation, internal access and movements, parking, number of employees and patrons, location and scale of home industry use, etc. C, to limit the home industry to a maximum of 24 participants weekly and a maximum of 16 teaching hours weekly, having an average workshop size of 8 participants, with larger workshops up to 24 participants twice a year. And D, limit parking for the home industry to no more than 8 vehicles parked on the site at a given time, with the exception of a total of 24 vehicles parked on the site twice a year.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a motioner and a seconder for said file? All right, it is on the table. We have discussed this last month. We have heard that there are no changes to the motion that is before us today from last month. Does anyone have any questions to either the planning staff or the representative? I'm assuming that's you, young lady? Yes. Any questions on this file to either the planning staff or the applicant? Yes, sir.
I was just wondering if the applicant wishes to speak to the file. Okay, thank you.
That is it? That's all I need. All right. If we have no questions of either, we put the motion to vote. All in favor of said motion? Carried. There's a 20-day appeal period. Other than that, I believe Colin here will be your best friend to complete this application as stated. That concludes the public portion of our meeting here. Any new business, Colin?
No new business.
Next meeting?
Our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, November 12th, 2025.
All right. Do we have a motion for adjournment? All in favor? Carried. meeting over at 3:37 on October 8th. I thank you all for participating in the Clearview Community of Adjustment meeting. Cheers.